So, Achal, we will start with your brief introduction to the panel.
Okay, sir. My name is Aanchal Sharma. I belong to Karnal, Haryana. I've done my schooling from Guru Tegh Bahadur Public School, Karnal. Then I did my graduation in BSc Non-Medical from Dal Singh College, Karnal. Thereafter, I have been preparing for the exam. And my hobbies are creating and solving Sudoku and watching science fiction movies.
So, Achal, you're from Haryana, and why have you opted for Indian Forest Service?
Um, so, if it is related to my state, I agree that we have a very low forest cover, the lowest in the country. And but the fact that we have a very low forest cover, it actually encouraged me to do something for the nature and environment.
Okay, so
And yes,
basically, uh, you want to do something for Haryana forests.
yes, sir.
Oh, that's very nice. So, tell me why Haryana has such a low forest cover? I think one of the least in the country.
Yes, sir. So the one of the major reason behind this is the agricultural dominance. More than 80% of the land belongs to agriculture activities, sir. So we do not have a large percentage of the area present for forest activity.
Mhm.
Other than that, we also do not have big patches of forest in the state. So we have very small patches which cumulatively go to very less percentage of the total area, which is just around 3.65%, sir. And
Okay.
other than that, we are undergoing canal plantations and avenue plantations, but that also have been around 3.8% only, sir.
So, you mentioned that it is agrocentric state. So,
Yes.
so how would agroforestry be good for Haryana?
So the state has been working very good in this aspect because we have seen um, we have seen many steps taken. For example, eucalyptus, poplar, and prosopis cineferaria are being cultivated in the forest. Other than that, Haryana being a state where the dominance of rice and wheat have been seen, so agroforestry could provide diversification of income to the farmers as well. Also, yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me, no, carry on.
Other than that, it would allow the betterment of soil since soil degradation has been another issue in the states. So agroforestry would be a good step.
So it is generally I have heard that this plantation of eucalyptus along the roads
Yes,
or
sir.
even on the farms was not a good idea.
Yes,
Probably
sir.
now the government is realizing.
Yes, sir.
So,
Uh,
yeah, tell
yes.
me, what are
So
your
this is pertaining to the fact that the roots of eucalyptus go very deep down and it sucks out a lot of water from the area, sir. Due to which eucalyptus has been is being undertaking in canal plantation so that the nearby farm areas can be provided appropriate amount of water and the excess can be sucked by eucalyptus. And we have seen there have been steps being taken where eucalyptus is being substituted by other species.
Achal, my last question.
Yes,
You
sir.
have done PCM. You are a science student.
Yes, sir.
So tell me, how are the forest covers,
Yes, sir.
evaluated? How are they measured? What is the way adopted in India, and how good it is?
So right now we are undertaking satellite-based mapping in which different the area is divided into different dots and graphs, and those particular dots are calculated to calculate the proper area. Other than that, we also do ground truthing and post mapping analysis of the area to confirm if there has been any error or not. And in the recent report, we have seen that more than 90% of the area has been properly calculated. So the error has been reducing gradually also.
But many minor things would not come, like plantations, whether it is agroforestry, whether it is
Yes, sir.
so. Can it be done on by the humans also, like in case of any errors or possible errors, or to bring some more details, can it be done manually?
Yes, sir, we have seen such instances where the satellite could not decipher between different kind of species or invasive species and the other plantation species. So ground truthing has been has been done for
Oh,
that also, and there are steps being taken to make the satellite-based mapping further better, sir.
thank you, Anchal. I pass on to our honorable member, Mr. Sandeep.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. So, Anchal, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have a vision for forests and forestry in the country?
Yes, sir.
Please tell.
Um, so I believe for with respect to my vision, I would like to see the forests of the country being at the center of our governance activities,
Mm-hmm.
such that sustainable activities can be done. Since India being a developing country, development has to be done. So we have to shift or divert areas somewhere also. But the afforestation being done right now is uh, moreover with respect to plantations and not with respect to natural forest conservation and their reforestation. So if we can undertake such activities so that we can afforest the area such that the ecosystem services are at par what we had earlier, that would be a very good step, sir. So that is my vision, that we take sustainable forest management, sir.
Good. So, Anchal, tell me, see, we are so many states. Each state is culturally different.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the forest cover, the forest species are different in those states. So
Yes,
when
sir.
you talk of a vision, so how will you incorporate, the culture into your sustainable living along with forestry?
So there are different steps being taken, and there are other steps that should be taken. For
Mhm.
example, we can introduce the sacred group concept at a bigger level, so that the conservation of forests are being done by local communities as well. Other than that, the joint forest management, in which the culture and the knowledge of tribals can be used for forest conservation, that also can be done. Other than that, there are several steps being taken. For example, um, may I take a moment, sir?
Please, please. Be at
Uh,
ease.
yes, sir. There is a Vedic philosophy being introduced in many areas where people are being nudged to conserve forest and plant trees with respect to their nakshatra also. So that is another thing that involves culture and forest conservation, sir.
Okay. Anchal, which are the states which practice jhum cultivation?
So most of the hilly areas, sir, the northeast states and some parts of Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, sir.
So this is detrimental to the forest cover.
Yes, sir.
How will you change that? Suppose you are posted in an area like that.
Yes. So the basic reason behind these is, first of all, is lack of knowledge and the degradation it does to the forest. People undergoing these activities do not have the proper knowledge with respect to that, so we need to aware them. Second is the lack of income generated by those patches of agriculture where they undergo such activities, because of the fact they have to go to different patch and clear that. So we need to increase the fertility and the productivity of that particular area. For that, we can provide them with suitable seeds and suitable manures or techniques, knowledge, techniques, know-how, sir.
Okay. Anchal, you're fond of science fiction and
Yes,
web
sir.
series.
Yes,
So,
sir.
which kind of web series do you watch?
Those that I watch a lot kind of web series. I have come across that I like more space-based web series, sir.
Okay. So, do you think there is life on other planets?
So if we consider our solar system, there have been many analysis and researches with respect to that, and many scientists have come to the conclusion that presently there is no intelligent life, at least, because they would have they would have sent signals to us, or there are no particular living situations and conditions present on other planets. But if we have to consider the whole universe, with respect to probability, since I'm a mathematics student, there should be life existing somewhere, sir.
Somewhere. That's a hope also, and a wish
Yes,
also.
yes,
Okay, okay. Now, see, uh, soil.
yes, sir.
So every state has got a different terrain.
Yes, sir.
Okay, suppose you are posted in a state which is mountainous,
Yes, sir.
right? And there are, I mean, say Uttarakhand, lot of natural calamity happened, and
Yes, sir.
the riversides were washed off, glacial movements were there, and a lot of destruction, to forest and man and human life both.
Yes, sir.
So how will you contain, the soil erosion or the impact, or minimize the impact of such cloudbursts
Yes,
and
sir.
heavy rainfall?
So first of all, we need to map all those areas, either with respect to slope vulnerability or due to any climate based calamity vulnerability.
Right?
After that, we need to go for plantation of such species which are wind hardy as well as which can bind the soil properly, so that soil erosion can be reduced to a certain extent. Other than that, we also need to go for slope walls so that the landslides can be reduced. Other than that, we also need to take care of the fact that the urbanization and the infrastructural development is not being done in those areas which are more prone to such disasters, so that we can reduce the human and animal loss.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Anchal. Over to
Thank you.
Madhvi.
Good to see
Thank you,
you.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So, Anchal, how are you prepared to face difficulties, especially as a woman in a remote places like a forest?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, as per me, the remoteness of forest is rather an advantage to me, because I'll be able to focus more on the forest-based activities and actions that have to be taken. And with respect to, if I consider the fact that as a woman I have to work in a remote area, there would be certain issues that I might face. It might be pertaining to my safety, or with respect to the infrastructural lack of infrastructure that we see with respect to women based. So I will try to inculcate these factors in my approach while I'm serving in that particular area. And since it is a remote area, I would try to think of ways so that I can mitigate such factors which might hinder my working, ma'am.
You're basically a BSc Maths, Physics, and Chemistry student.
Yes, ma'am.
But this working in a forest is about life and their habitat, their
Yes, ma'am.
habitation also. So,
Yes,
how do you think your graduation will help in forest management?
ma'am. Yes, it is true that forest based activities are with respect to life. But it is also true that it is a very technical and specialty based job, where I do need and would have an advantage of my graduation. For example, if I consider mathematics, the mensuration based activities or the data based analytics that I will have to do would be easier for me to understand and implement, since I am a mathematics student. Other than that, if I have to consider chemistry and physics, I will be easily able to understand the slope based analytics and the steps I have to take, or the fertilizers or the manures that I have to introduce in a particular area, because I'll be able to understand chemical equations and their effect easily. So I think the graduation would surely help me in this aspect, ma'am.
Fine. So, there is a situation in our wherever
Yeah.
you're posted. So, say for example, there is a tribal agitation against a national park declaration on that particular area wherein they have to be dislocated.
Hmm.
So, what would be your approach?
Uh, First of all, well, ma'am, approach the tribal people, especially the tribal leader, to make them understand the importance of the demarcation and the declaration of national park that has to be taken. Secondly, I would make sure of the fact that all of the grievances and their demands are heard, and they develop trust in the forest department that their grievances are being heard, and make sure their relocation is being done. And other than that, we can also introduce a temporary compensation also. And lastly, ma'am, if we provide the employment with respect to national park and ecotourism in nearby area, that would be rather beneficial for them. So if we introduce this factor also during the discussion, I think we will be able to placate them, ma'am.
Okay, Anshul. My last question is, how do you think we can regulate the OTT, especially when it comes to the children, kids?
Ma'am, there are certain steps already being taken, such that there are different age-based divisions of movies and web series. But ma'am, still there are a lot of concerns with respect to OTT, since the content we are provided with is sometimes considered to be obscene or against the culture of the country. So we need to make sure that the content is being rather scrutinized, or there is some regulation with respect to what kind of content can be provided in the country. Other than that, we also need parental control so that the parents are in control of what their children are watching. For example, as I have seen, the YouTube Children, the kids platform is a very good step in such regard. So OTTs can also have a similar step where there is a special OTT based platform made specially for children. So that can also be done, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Anshul.
Achal,
Yes.
Iran war,
Yes, sir.
how do you think it is affecting the efforts made towards climate change all these years?
Yes, sir. Sir, if we have to talk about the immediate effect, we are seeing that many forests are being lit and degraded because of the fires and the missile attacks. Other than that, we are also seeing different kind of climatic consequences. For example, the black rain that we saw in Iran due to the kind of chemicals that were produced. Other than that, we are also seeing that there are marine ecosystems being degraded due to the oil spills and the attacks on ships. And if we have to talk about the long term, sir, um, Iran being a very enclosed area, the effect of such gases would be long term, since it will not be able to go out of that area. Secondly, the shift of whole world have been on these wars rather than the climate change, which needs to be shifted back. So that is another long term effect that this war has.
Tell us something about the latest on Aravallis. It is the matter is sub judice with the
Yes,
Supreme
sir.
Court. So, what
Yes,
was
sir.
the issue? Can you just mention very briefly?
So there was no proper definition with respect to Aravali. So the government came up with the definition of 100 meters, where the hills above than 100 meters would be considered as a forest and would be conserved thereby, and others would be available for mining and construction. But many environmentalists and the local people protested against this because there were concerns of further degradation of the Aravali Hill. So the Supreme Court has put a hold on the definition, 100-meter definition, and there is again being the definition is again being discussed as to what should be done for the hills.
So, Achal, my supplementary question is, are you with the environmentalists or as a future forest officer, or as a citizen of this country, you would take a stand where mining could coexist with Aravalis?
Sir, as a government official, I would have to follow the directions that are
No,
provided
I am
to.
asking your views. You are still not in the forest service.
Okay, okay, sir. Uh, then, sir, I would consider that if the mining is can be done in a in a way that proper afforestation and reforestation of nearby areas and conservation of the habitat of wildlife that would be affected can be conserved, then I would be in support of mining, because development has to be done also. But if the proper impact assessment is not being done, and the mining is being allowed on a very haphazard manner, then I would be against it, sir.
So that is it. So you'll do very well, Aanchal. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.